Pathway to Success, the course aimed at building a thriving mindset and providing essential tools for achieving your goals in personal finance, presented by the professionals at KVR Team. This course is designed by a financial professional. However, it is meant to be used as an educational resource only. It includes vital information about very critical factors which can determine our level of failure or success in reaching financial goals. It also provides tools and strategies that can help you put money to work instead of always working for money. The following information is not intended to be considered as accounting, investment, tax, legal, or financial advice and should not be taken as such for any particular individual. Please consult with a licensed professional for specialized advice and to build your financial plan. Pathway to Success, the state of our finances in the U.S. The debt era begins. There is a serious crisis in this country stemming from the lack of knowledge about the basics of personal finance. We must take better control of our money. There are some root causes which set the table for financial difficulty in millions of households. Financial education is absent in the vast majority of our schools. Only a handful of states out of 50 in the U.S. offer even basic financial education. Colleges and universities have classes on economics and the systems of large businesses, but virtually none offer classes on personal finance or money management for the individual. Banks offer a special treatment for people only if they have enough for private bankers to notice. Everyone else gets very little information or time from them. Our public school system continues to teach in the same format established more than 150 years ago, before the Industrial Revolution. It mainly promotes the idea of exchanging money for time and focuses on training people to be workers, not business owners, innovators, or entrepreneurs. The current U.S. public school system seldom encourages the introduction of new ideas by students or teachers. Our educational system also largely discourages teamwork and collaboration, which is the foundation of any great achievement, financial or otherwise. Mistakes are punished by bad grades, even though trial and error is a process that humans need in order to find out what works and what doesn't. Few schools are open to creative thinking or the development of an environment that reduces the fear of failure, despite the fact that without failure, there can be no success. Instead, schools largely cling to rote memorization of pre-planned curriculum. This type of learning limits the use of imagination as well as critical and creative thinking. Many Americans graduate college with tens of thousands of dollars in student debt, while learning almost nothing about personal finance or how our money system works. They start life as a young adult in debt, and they often stay in debt. Most of those fortunate enough to become employed hold on to jobs they don't like for less pay than they want and can't wait for the next day off. Then they hope for a couple more vacation days each year. One of the greatest fears people now have is that advances in technology will eliminate their job. This is happening in many places, and it is another reason we have to become financially self-sufficient. Each person has abilities and gifts that we can put to work for us as we forge our path to financial freedom. For most of us, these gifts remain untapped and unfulfilled. Write down the things you do well. How can you put these abilities to use to make your future what you want it to be? It's this type of self-evaluation along with massive action that can turn your dreams into reality. So much of our daily lives are connected to how we are doing financially. We feel empowered when we have the money to choose the place we want to live and the schools our children attend. When we lack money, it creates an uneasy feeling of helplessness. Having financial means allows us to take back our freedom. We are hardwired for well-being, and our financial status is tied to our sense of well-being. Financial misfortune may be widespread, but make no mistake, people are not supposed to be broke or impoverished. There are people who do not live in an economy like America's, but everyone should have a chance at the life they want. Many of us simply do not have the information to become financially empowered. It is a challenge to find people or places that will educate us about managing our own money. Financial planning does not mean much more to most people than having a 401k or a savings account. People also tend to spend much more than they save, creating a formula for never-ending frustration. There is financial news all over the internet and television. This massive flow of information reaches millions of people who are not sure how they can use it. There's a flood of investment in banking products, but most of the time, it is not made clear how they work. Social media experts talk about financial topics, but so many of them are simply sharing their own point of view. Often they leave out important information. The era of debt in the US began in 1971, when the United States left the gold standard. This meant that our money could no longer be redeemed or cashed in for a certain amount of gold. Our money simply became currency, also known as government money. Gold and silver, nature's money, has a much higher value because there's a limited amount available that cannot just be printed. Without the backing of gold to hold us accountable for our spending, the Federal Reserve, a private group of bankers authorized by Congress and not a government agency, was then able to have the US Treasury print more and more currency. The Fed was appointed as the US government supplier and policymaker for our money in the early 1900s. They are the main lenders of the government and commercial banks. The Fed charges interest on trillions of dollars in loans to our government and banks, which can likely never be paid off. This keeps the country in a never-ending cycle of debt, disguised as fiscal, budgetary management. Our government could print the same money and put it into the economy free of interest charges for itself, but it remains under the control of the Fed banking group to this day. The Federal Reserve is the money manager of our government, and while we cannot control what the government does, we can be the managers of our own personal finances. With our money system now based on endless borrowing, the government began spending beyond its budget. The value of the dollar is now only as good as people believe it is. Our money, known as fiat currency, is now subject to inflation, the constant increase in prices over time for all goods and services. The Federal Reserve tries to control inflation by moving trillions of dollars into and out of the economy through our treasury and our banks by buying and selling government notes and bonds, along with other activities. Our country also borrows money from other nations when the goods we make do not match the amount of goods we buy. Our national debt is a total of everything our federal government owes. As of January 2024, it passed $34 trillion. This debt, so far, has shown to be unpayable. News channels often mention the national debt as a number divided by the population in the US to show what it would be like if each of us had to pay a part of it. The citizens of the US are not the ones who created this debt. We have created our own consumer debt, however. During the 1980s and 90s, loans and credit cards exploded and the economy ballooned, using people's signatures instead of cash. Buying now and paying later became a habit. People became used to living with more and more debt. In the late 2000s, the interest rates on easier-to-get loans called adjustable rate mortgages rose very fast. Many people lost their homes because they could not afford the new, higher monthly payment, and they did not qualify to refinance or restructure their loans. Many also lost their jobs when the recession took effect. A large number of those people lost their homes too, due to the millions of homeowners' inability to pay. Overpriced bundles of housing loan debt called mortgage-backed securities lost most of their value. That deflated the credit bubble even more. As a result, the stock market took a hit. There was a gigantic domino effect. Millions of people lost nearly half the value of their investments, then sold them in a panic, making that loss of value real. According to a Forbes magazine article from January 2019, more than 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Almost 40% have credit card debt that rolls over every month. There are even more economic issues on a global scale caused by the unprecedented slowdown of businesses and commerce in early 2020. This is primarily because of temporary government restrictions put in place as a response to slow the spread of a respiratory infection. only about 59% of adults have any savings put aside for emergencies and/or economic situations such as the ones listed here. The majority of people in this situation cannot handle more than $400 in expenses at any given time. Pensions have largely disappeared. Social Security is meant to be a supplemental or small portion of what people should be living on, yet for many retirees, it is their main income. The future of Social Security is also endangered because of shortfalls due to more people retiring and a smaller number of people paying into the fund from their paycheck contributions. People go from college to old age and never know what it is like to be in control of their money. We want better for ourselves and our family, but lack the information we need. It's time to learn more about how money works, take action, and become empowered. Thank you for watching our educational video. For any questions or assistance, please contact us at kvrteam.com.